Hello, my name is Lincoln Emerson, and this will be an updated guide on how to get started out in Neverwinter in 2021. This is right after the most recent Sharandar update, which is mod 20, and right before that the devs released a big battle update, so the battle mechanics have changed considerably as well. I made a new player's guide a couple months back, but I wanted to make sure things are as up to date as possible, so the goal for this video is to pack in as many tips as I can to help alleviate some of the stumbling blocks new players might come across when they first get started out. I do put a lot of work into getting this content as crisp as I can, even so far as writing out scripts, like the very one I'm reading from for this intro right now. And the YouTube gods really favor people who get subscribers, likes, comments, shares, and so on. So if you learn a thing or two, or if you find the video entertaining at all, you know the drill. Now that my self-plug's out of the way, let's go over the game for a bit. It's based off of D&D lore, and it's free to play. So if the idea of wearing cool armor and searching for treasures, going into dungeons and caverns to hunt down demons, dragons, trolls, and other enemies, if that sounds like fun to you, maybe give the game a shot. Neverwinter lets you create up to 2 characters for free. You can purchase additional slots, and of course there's some bonus things you can buy with real money, but in my opinion, the game is not pay to win. I have heard some differing opinions on that, and I think that could make for a good topic for a video all on its own. I don't want to do that in this one, other than saying keep an eye out for that if you'd like to hear my take on that. This is my first character here. Her name is Mirror. She's more DPS focused. She's level 80, which is currently the max level in the game. And just to the right of my cursor, you can see it says Drow Barbarian. That's her race and her class. I'll go over that in a minute. I'd like to create a new character which is more tank healer focused. So I'll make one with you guys, but before I do, let's click this options button down here. And under the gameplay tab, this one right here on the top, require ward to upgrade. Around levels 20 or 30, I forget exactly when, you get a quest that you cannot complete because by default this is on. Whether this is on or off, you always get prompted before you try and upgrade a piece of equipment or an item on what the risks and rewards are. I don't want to go into too much detail here, other than saying this isn't hurting anything by you selecting off, so go ahead and make sure that's off, click apply and OK. And a couple other things to touch on. If the music volume's too loud or you want to adjust some of the other audio stuff, you can do that in here. You can also adjust the graphics if you're having problems with lagging or anything like that. You can do this in-game as well while it's live. So if you're rubber banding, if you're glitching around, you can press escape to open up the options menu and go into here and change the graphics and lower some of the settings, or raise them if you'd like, and do that. And the last thing, my big cursor you see here is under the Interface tab, General, and right here you see Cursor Scale. And there's a few other cool things in here that you can adjust in the options, but let's go ahead and make a new character. Here on the character selection screen, on the top left, you get a small background for each race, then racial abilities down below, which boost a few of your stats starting out, and then you get the races themselves to pick from. If I scroll down, you can see that some of them are locked. Most of these you do have to pay real money to unlock and play, but it being a free-to-play game, they do have to sell something, right? But the Metallic Ancestry Dragonborn race, for example, you can save up enough in-game currency to actually unlock and play this if you don't want to purchase it with real money. I can show you what that looks like briefly once we get into the gameplay. As far as choosing your race and class, just go with what you think you'll enjoy the most. The last thing you want to do as a new player coming into the game is try to make your first character a quote-unquote meta build. By the time you get to the high-level dungeons and boss battles, all race-class combos can be built to perform well. Meta builds are for those people who want to squeeze out that 1% extra damage in a long boss battle, so just go with what you like. For me, I'm going to go with the half-orc. Now we get to select our class, and if you hover over these down here, it tells you the starting moves and what they do. But pay attention to this blue text right here. Upon reaching level 30, barbarians may specialize in either dealing damage or tanking. There are 3 main fields, I should say. You have DPS, tank class, and healer class. So if you focus on healing or tanking, for example, you can still put some DPS down, but a tank's main job is usually to draw aggro and get the target off of others. Healers are supposed to heal the team, etc. If I click a Ranger class, for example, the blue text tells us what we need to know. Rangers specialize in dealing damage. So they're all about DPS and that's it. So just read through these, read through the abilities and what you think would sound the best for you to start out with. For me, I've thought this through. I want to go with Paladin. Upon reaching level 30, Paladins may specialize in either tanking or healing. I want to primarily focus on tanking here. And now we get to choose our ability scores. It gives you a little hint depending on what class you choose. So as a Paladin, Charisma and Wisdom are useful ability scores. And if you hover over any of these, it tells you what they do. For me, I want to focus primarily on tanking, but I do want to be strong. Strength gives us stamina regen, and that's we can hold our shield up longer, we have more stamina, and we get physical damage boost, so we're more powerful. And then Constitution gives us more maximum hit points and action point gain. Action point gain is basically another move set that you have. So because we chose the half-orc, our racial ability, we get to choose one of these to boost. So we get dexterity guaranteed. Critical severity and movement speed go up. For me, I'm going to start out with a little more strength. And this is just the character customization. There's no need to go over this, so I'll meet you on the other side. Character origins and deity affiliation don't have any effect on your character's performance or gameplay, so go with what you think sounds fun. Finally, you get to name your character, and you can write out a little biography or a backstory if you want for your character. I went ahead and wrote one out. This half-orc earned his name after surviving being thrown off a cliff. His human mother was known for being a drunk, and one night she brought home an orc during a one-night stand. She was so horrified by her newborn son that she paid a beggar 3 copper to travel outside of the city and get rid of him. A small party of dwarves were scanning the foot of the cliff for rare ores when they heard the baby's cries. They took him in without question and raised him with the same values that they hold dear. Today, Cliff fights to protect his dwarven allies and friends. Let's begin our adventure. Level 1.
Move around using the W, A, S, and T keys.
I skipped the cutscenes because I don't want to get copyright claimed or anything. And I will skip through quest dialogue as well just to speed things up. This is where you first spawn, and you can see some of the sparkles on the ground. You can always use this to find where you need to go. You can see up here there's also sparkles. Your quest tracker is right here.
Quest objectives.
If you have more than one quest, they will just come down the list. If you have more than 4 or 5 at a time, they won't all fit right here, but that can all be accessed by going to your quest journal. You can do this by pressing the J key. On PC, for console versions, you just need to find the corresponding buttons. But this will show all of your quests right here. And you can just press J to close that back out. The way that you get to move your mouse around is by pressing the Alt key. And you can see this here, press Alt to return to game. Anytime I press the Alt key, I can move my mouse around. There's a menu bar up here, and if I hover over any of these, it tells you what they are. But many of these have hotkeys to them. You can see C, L, Y, G. So you can access them faster on PC by tapping those. So I can tap C, for example, and it will open this first one right here, our character sheet, which has a bunch of options useful for your character. And then no matter how many things I have open, all I have to do is press the Alt key, and I go right back into the live game. As I said before, you can click the button up here to press Escape, and that takes you to your options. And in here, live in the game, you can edit audio or graphic settings if you want to tweak those a little bit. And I just clicked Alt to close that back out. You then have this area down here. The game will talk you through baby steps and unlock one thing at a time. This is where your attack moves will show up as they unlock. Over here, you have your potion tray. This is where your artifact goes, but you don't come across those for a bit. So these have numbers on those. These are hotkeys: 4, 5, and 6, 3, and then this is 1 and 2. These are your daily powers that unlocks in a little bit as the tutorial goes on. It'll unlock one thing at a time for you. Right now it just gives us our one basic attack. It'll be a different move depending on what class and race you chose. But let's go talk to this guy over here to get things started.
So you can still walk. You were in bad shape when we pulled you from the front line. I don't know.
Anytime you want them to stop talking, you can just press the Alt key and left click to dismiss them talking as well. So if you're in a Discord call with friends or something like that, or you know where you're going, you can just shut them up that way. These glowing orbs right here, that's a popular thing. That shows up on a lot of things you need to search for or find. Chests, for instance, in dungeons usually have that glow on them. So you just press your interact key with them. And then we can just click take all, or we can press F to take everything.
Press I to open your inventory. Double-click an item to equip it.
Like it says, we can press I, which opens up our inventory. I'll press C to open up the character sheet as well, so you can see what's happening here. And if I hover over this right here, it says Sturdy Shield, item level 4, and then double-click to equip/use. So we double-click that, just like that. We've got that on our back, and it's equipped to the shield slot. We'll put on our weapon and our armor piece. We can't access this yet. We got to be item level 5. But now we've got this equipped.
Campfires are rest zones where out-of-combat players may heal.
This is a campfire zone. So up here, this is sort of our status area. And right now, we can click this, and it shows our effects. So for 15 minutes after you get out of a campfire, you get +1 to each ability score. I'll press C so you can see that again. These again are your abilities. You get a buff on all of those for 15 minutes anytime you step inside a campfire zone. So that's really nice to know as a new player. And every 30 seconds, if you step on a trap in a dungeon or something, you can always go to a campfire, and every 30 seconds it will mend a wound. And me hovering over this, it tells you what it does right there. You also get injury kits that you can use, but you don't need to spend anything if you're close to a campfire. You just wait 30 seconds, and it will heal you there. We have our basic attack unlocked, so we'll use that. Which is just our left mouse button.
Objects and enemies to target them.
Now it's saying press and hold shift to enter guard, absorbing damage in front of you. So we'll test that out on this next group here. Being that we chose Paladin and we have a shield, it's telling us what we need to do. Right here it says while guarding, your guard meter will decrease. This is our guard meter right here. So you want to pay attention to all things on screen. You can see I'm absorbing damage right there. And as they hit me, you can see those blue text, 117, 169. That's what they're hitting for.
Press spacebar to jump.
But all you have to do is meet up with Makos. Just follow the trail. Meet up with Makos, help protect him for a little bit, and then we can move on to the next phase of the tutorial. Alright, it just unlocked our Q ability, so we'll hold that and let it rip. Some abilities you can hold and charge them for more power. So this is one of those classes where you can do that. So we just need to protect Makos for a bit.
We've done it! Push forward!
And honestly, you can just push through this a little bit faster. Come over here and meet Celeste.
Keep the undead at bay.
Alright, we finally get to this next phase. As someone that has a shield, you can block attacks like that when they're in the red and they're incoming. I wouldn't suggest that further down the line because some things are insta-downs, insta-kills. But for attacks this week, you can hold and block those. But once you get used to moving out of the way or dodging, you would typically want to do that. The The game is slowly introducing us to a couple of different types of enemies. Some have a little bit more armor than others. And you can see down here on our potion tray, we have a potion attached. So if we press the number 4, that just healed us up. For the tutorial, honestly, Makos will heal you. He won't let you fall. While you're fighting, you can also hold your attack button. You don't need to spam it, which is good to know. And then we also have a right-click ability. And for our Paladin class, that's a shield bash. Looks like he dropped a bit of loot there, a couple more potions. And this is a look at a chest. So again, it's got that glowing orb on it. You just interact with it. Grab the loot inside. And then we get our first little boss battle experience. We're finally going to get a look at our daily power. You can use this each time the meter fills up. It's called daily power, but you can use it many times in a day. We'll hold our shield up so we can block that. Hold our Q ability. And then let's see what our daily power does. Takes off about half of his health. Right as he's about to bring that fist down as a tank. Throwing that shield out. Stepping out of it, trying to dodge most of it. And it wants us to get through the tutorial, so it feeds us that ability one more time. We'll use that. It just gave us another item. We've got a pair of gloves, so we'll double click, it throws it into that slot. And we now have this ability. If we hover over it, Sacred Weapon. Deal damage, radiant damage after most attacks. Additional radiant damage after most attacks. Okay. We'll go ahead and press that. That's what that looks like. Looks like area of effect, AoE.
Nox is up ahead.
Now
You
we're
should
in
speak with
Protector's
him
Enclave.
next.
We have a trail we can follow. You can see this right away. But before we do, let's go over to this green rock right here. This is a teleport stone. We can press F to interact with it, and it sets this as our primary teleport spot. So anytime we get stuck, glitched, if something happened, or if I'm just doing missions and quests and I want to take a shortcut real quick, I can press the Alt key and come up to this little green icon. Just click that and confirm OK. And you can see it just teleported me right to this stone. If I go back to it and try to use it again, it tells us it's going to cost 5,000 astral diamonds to teleport immediately. But in 59 minutes, it'll be available again. So once per hour, you can use that. Once you start getting astral diamonds, we're a new character, so we don't have any currency like that. It takes a little bit before you can start earning AD, they call it. But once you start earning that, you can take that shortcut as much as you want if you're willing to pay the 5k AD. So let's talk to Sergeant Knox and turn in our quest.
Need your... So, you are the
This
one
gives
who
us a
saved
new
me.
weapon. It also upgraded us to level 6. So we can press to open up our inventory. And when I hover over this, you can see we already have something equipped. So the one on the far left is showing us weighted mace, item level 9, that's equipped. And then the one to the right of that is saying item level 25, which is higher and better, obviously. It says recommended in yellow letters. That's what you normally want to look at as a new character. You don't want to bog yourself down with anything. For quite a while, there won't be special abilities or stat buffers on any of the items you find getting started out, which is nice. Just focus on looking at what's recommended and equip that. So now you can see the one on the left, which is equipped, is the better one. And now that we're over item level 5, we can open this up, which gave us some injury kits, a little health stone. So let's go ahead and drag and drop this into our number 4 slot. So if I ever get injured, I can click the number 4, and that kit will do the same effect that the campfire does. It'll instantly heal one of those injuries. And we have some healing potions here that are attached. You can move those around, or you can right click and equip them that way by hovering over equip to potion tray. And then you can discard things in your inventory if you ever want to do that as well. Once you start doing quests and turning them in, you'll start getting a lot of stuff in your inventory. You can just click sort, and it sort of lines stuff up. So all of the equipment goes first, then you usually get refining stones and things like that. sort of organizes it for you, which is nice. And for a while, you'll be getting little chests that you unlock as you level up. It's just a little bonus you get for progressing through the game. So let's get our first mount. Right now, it's just showing that we have one quest once we get this one started. It's showing us that we have one quest. It's also giving us that glow again. You can see it here on the live map that you're on. Up here on the top right, you can also see it. But if I press M, that opens up my map. And you can see there's even a trail there, which is really nice. You can left click anywhere and set a special waypoint. And all you have to do is left click on that special waypoint and it makes it go away. If I press J and open up my quest journal, and I press this a couple times, left click that, it will hide that. Once you start getting a lot of quests, sometimes it's easier just to hide some of them. You can abandon certain quests when you don't want to do them, but this one's so early on you have to get them out. But we can't abandon this one. But like I was saying, if you get too many, sometimes it's easier just to hide a handful of them, so you know that the best ones will usually appear right here and you don't have to keep going into your quest journal. But now, since I have it hidden, we're not seeing any orbs anywhere. So we'll press J, open that back up, and we'll follow this trail over to where we need to be. You'll see different people with different icons over their heads. Like this one, you can see it just has a yellow diamond. But people who have question marks in their diamond or exclamation points are really important to talk to. Those are usually people you turn in quests to, get quests from, or they give you items. So Sergeant Knox gave us a mount requisition coin. We can turn that into this mount dealer here, mount merchant, and we can pick one of these two starter mounts. You can right click to get more info on them, check their stats. I'm going to go with this Sabino horse here. So now it says that item received on the bottom right here, and it says it went to our collection, but where is he? We want to press I to open up our inventory. So it says it here, but it can go missed if you're not paying attention. You want to open your inventory and then double click to equip him. And now he's on our mount slot. So if we press the 7 key, now our mount shows up. We can press 7 again to get rid of him. Another cool feature that mounts have is if you're standing still and you press the space key on PC, they have a little animation. Different mounts do different things, which is kind of cool. And then for some reason, if your mount's ever slow, well, before I do that, let's go ahead and follow these prompts. So we'll open up our inventory so that you can see it show up. We'll click the Mounts tab from our character sheet, and now it's telling us to click Stable. We click that. Now it's just given us our first mount insignia. It's called the Enlightened Insignia Prosperity. Gives you a few different stat buffers, and all we have to do on our mount, you can have up to 5 different active mounts, but this is our first one here, and you just drag and drop it on one of the matching spots, and that's completed the mount quest. All we have to do is turn that into Sergeant Knox. But what I was going to say is, in the Mounts tab, if you ever want to change your mount, it's under the Current tab. Like, you go to Mounts, and then Current, and then you click here. I only have one, so it won't open up, but if you have 2 or more mounts, it'll show you a list, and from there you can click the Choose button, and it'll let you choose that mount. That's just what you ride. What's in your stable, those are the things you get powers from. So this horse here gives us some stat buffers, and that's what the insignias do. They give us some stat buffs as well. Oh, before I go, if you ever find yourself moving slow, in the Current tab, you want to go to this blue rectangle here and make sure Gallop is selected. Sometimes it might accidentally be on Trot, and you'll find yourself moving really slow. If that's the case, you just go under the Mounts tab, make sure you select Gallop, and you should be good. Oh, and I almost forgot, right as I was editing the video, I remembered I wanted to talk about this. This is the auction house here. You can go to any of these auctioneers with the little hammer over their head, interact with them, and it shows you anything you have for sale, any bids you have on any items, and you can browse all sorts of different things. So you actually don't physically need to be in Protector's Enclave or at the auction house to search it. So I'll go away from it so you can see what I'm doing here. I press the Alt key again so I can move my mouse up, and in this top menu bar right here you have that little hammer. If you click that, that exact same thing opens up. So right here you want to click the miscellaneous tab, because it would be under miscellaneous what we're searching for, and type out Sigil of the. That's all you really need. And anything with those, starting with those 3 words, is going to pop up, and this is what we're looking for. Sigil of the Metallic Ancestry Dragonborn. And if I hover over that, it says grant yourself the following reward: Metallic Ancestry Dragonborn as a playable race. So that then unlocks that race for you permanently. You buy it one time and you have it forever. But you can see here that you can buy it for 2.2 million Astral Diamonds. You would first have to build up a free character, say a human or a half-orc or something like that. Build that character up to where you can unlock up to 100,000 per day in Astral Diamonds. And after 23 days of doing that actively, you'd be able to purchase this and you would have that race permanently. So here's our inventory bag. I want to go over currencies maybe in a future video because there's a lot to really touch on. There's a ton of different currencies in the game. But basically, if I hover over this Rough Astral Diamonds tab, in that box that popped up, you can see, let me go over to this little tab here. You may refine an additional 100,000 Astral Diamonds today. So on this character, I can refine up to 100,000 per day. That's the maximum the game allows you to get. You can't currently raise that or buff that in any way. That's your limit. So if I was to get that per day, it would take 23 days to earn enough to purchase this at its current price. And in 23 days, I'm sure it would, change here or there, but basically that's what you get. You need to buy it with Astral Diamonds, but most of the time you'll earn a Rough Astral Diamonds, so you have to refine those to turn it into a workable currency that you can trade and buy things with. But I did want to point that out. Anyways, see you guys.